This is WTF Nation Radio.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. Welcome to Friday Night Freedom. My name is KOZ. Up there is Pooky. We made it. A little bit late, but I've got a reason, and it's not an excuse. I really hate I got a reason, and it ends up being an excuse, from the, for the guys that work with me and shit. Like, there's this big pterodactyl that came down. It was blocking traffic when I was trying to get to work. I've got a serious, it's a long list of crazy, this manager just kept track over like 20 years of running a store or whatever business he ran, of all of the excuses that his employees gave him for whatever reason. I need to share that with you because it's really, really funny. It's really, really funny. Anyway, I apologize for being 5 minutes late. I'll run 5 laps after the show. How about that? That work for you? I'll try to make it not happen again. But here's the deal. Today is the 3rd day of June, 2022, and I got back from work and I had extra time. I'm putting together the show. Everything was going great. All of a sudden, I hear thunder. I'm like, oh, I guess it's going to rain. pulled up the weather map, and I'm like, man, this storm just kind of went, it just circled into the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area and turned it into a mess. And the rain was coming directly from the south. Or as Jay Reddy would say, the South with an F. So I've always suspected that I've got a little bit of a leak in my roof where my chimney is. And today I discovered, sitting here putting the show together, that when the rain comes directly from the south, it pours. It doesn't pour. It leaks really dramatically into my attic area, and I can hear it hitting my ceiling
from the south.
So I'm like, oh my God, how am I gonna? I got a show coming up. I got to do something. I mean, my ceiling's gonna cave in during the middle of the show, and that sucks. The reason I went up there and did it is because I've got recessed lighting up there, and I didn't want it to blow up. So up to the attic I went with a bucket. So I didn't fix the leak, but it's going into a bucket instead of on my ceiling. So that's the reason I was late. I was kind of panicked a little bit.
You did the government fixture up.
Right. Now I just need to remember to go up there and fix the damn problem. I know how to fix it. It's a wood chimney. It's not a wood chimney. There's a wood surround on the chimney. And on the top of it is a chimney cap. And the chimney cap is it's a hat that sits on top of the chimney, and it's made of corrugated, whatever the fuck it is. And when they replaced it, when they redid my roof, I don't think they sealed it right, because I'm in the attic, looking up my chimney, that big where the chimney goes up through the roof, and I'm looking up there, and I'm like, I probably shouldn't be able to see daylight. So I think I need to remove the cap, seal it up, put the cap back on, maybe put some tar on it or tape or something. I don't know. I think I'll go to YouTube University and figure out how to seal a chimney cap.
Flex seal.
Flex seal. Yes, that is the good stuff. You know, Reed Timmer, the Extreme Storm Chaser, is recently sponsored by Flex Seal. Drives around the country chasing tornadoes with his Flex Seal shirt on.
Follow that guy Ryan Hall, y'all, on all the platforms. He does the storm chasing. Well, he doesn't really do the storm chasing. He does a storm report, but he has a team that works underneath him.
Is that Pecos Hank, or is that a different guy?
No, Ryan Hall.
Ryan Hall.
His @ is Ryan Hall, y'all. But I mean, the guy's really good. Like, he'll do he tracks like tornado outbreaks and just keeps going and puts out hey, if you're in this area, take cover, kind of crap. Cool. He does what the Weather Channel does, but I mean, he's out there, trying to save lives and put some weather knowledge out there. And I spend entirely too much time watching the Weather Channel lately.
He's not Jim Cantori, but he's Ryan Hall, y'all.
Yeah, Ryan Hall, y'all.
That's badass. Okay, I can close that window since I changed all the tags. I think we were cooking with gas, man. Hey, we got a guest tonight. You don't remember her, but if anybody was around back in 2018, we had a guest. Her name is Janae Sergio. Now, when she came on, she was just trying to publicize, trying to get her name out there. She's a Navy veteran. She's got a really awesome story. I don't want to steal an ounce of her thunder because her story is so incredible and she's done so well for herself and her family that it's just, I want you to hear it from her. It's just outstanding. Christopher Hale, where are you based out of? I'm in the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area. All of our hosts are from different parts of the country. We got folks in the Dakotas. I'm in Texas. Pooky, you're over in the South Carolina area. Fort Bragg area, we got folks up in the mountains. We got
guys in the Pentagon and Area 51, and
we're a little bit of everywhere. Glad you could stop by, hang out. We got a really excellent show. Janae's story is just is really awesome. So she's going to be returning to the WTF Nation tonight. She shared her story with us back in 2018 on ICE's show. Janae grew up in a very abusive home. She was homeless from the age of 16 until the day that she enlisted in the Navy. She is now a successful businesswoman and more recently a best-selling author. So she's going to join us at the top of the hour. I can't wait till she shows up. And it's going to be a great conversation. Wow. Okay.
Caught up there, huh? We made our couple minutes up.
Oof. All right, everybody. We're done. Have a good night. Bye.
And that's the show.
That's the show. Anyway, there's Janae and a picture of her book. It's called Perfectly Flawed, A Veteran's Journey from Homelessness to Hero. And she'll be on to talk about that at the top of the hour. So glad you could join us. Man, I'm out of breath. I need to do cardio or something, man. Either that or just start the show on time.
I need to do cardio. I run out of breath just checking the mail. So.
Get out of breath doing the yard work and stuff.
You get a ride mower.
You know, everyone. I got such a small yard. I think that would not look. That wouldn't be a good look if I had a riding lawn. First of all, I wouldn't have anywhere to put it.
Now the flex would be to have a small yard and a zero turn. That's the flex.
Or just sit in one area and go brrr about 4 times and be done.
Yeah.
I'm taking my $10,000 mower. I'm going to park it under my porch. I don't need yard furniture. I'll just sit on my zero turn.
It's got cup holders.
Let me see. Mike Flood asks, "Will you be having the fat electrician on again?" I hope so. He's now on the Facebook platform. He hasn't been. He's been primarily on TikTok, and then sharing his videos on YouTube. But he's made the leap to the dark side. He's on Facebook, so you can just search for The Fat Electrician, and you'll find him.
Him and another one of the, what's his name? I can't think of it off the top of my head. A history buff, real big history buff on. I should shoot myself in the foot for not being able to say this guy's name because he's awesome. You should all check him out. But him and Fat Electrician have been doing some collab shit, which is pretty interesting.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see his one of his? I say his latest. He puts out a video like every day. But the knife hand. The knife hand. The knife hand was the really good one. I like that.
Yes.
But I guess leading the news, and I'm not going to talk about fucking shootings and stuff. Heard and Depp and Amber. What's her name? Amber Heard. And Johnny
you really
Depp.
shit the bed on that one.
Yes. I see what you did there. But it's finally over. The theatrics is over. So I'll talk about it a little bit. I kind of wanted to talk about it, but I really was sick and tired of it. It was just every single day. That's all the news was Amber Heard and this drama that was going on in the courtroom. Let's see. A jury has found both Amber Heard and Johnny Depp liable for defamation. So they went to court against each other, sued each other, and they both lost. She lost more. So Depp sued Heard. So Johnny Depp, everyone knows Johnny Depp, sued Heard for defamation over a 2018 op-ed that she wrote for the Washington Post, in which she described herself as a public figure representing domestic abuse. Though Depp was not named in the article, he claims that it cost him lucrative acting roles. Heard countersued Johnny Depp for defamation over statements that Depp's attorney made about her abuse claims. So, Heard said something about Depp, but didn't say it was Johnny Depp. So Depp sued her. His lawyer said something, and then she sued Depp back because of something his lawyer said. Are you following?
Oh.
The jury found that Heard defamed Depp on 3 separate statements in the Washington Post piece, and that Depp defamed Heard with 1 statement that his attorney made. Somewhere in the middle of all this, Amber Heard dropped a deuce on Johnny Depp's bed. The jury awarded Depp $10 million in compensatory damages and $5 million in punitive damages. The jury awarded Heard $2 million in compensatory damages and no dara for punitive damages. So she's out $2 million, and Johnny Depp is up 15.
So the only people that really won anything throughout this whole thing were the lawyers.
The lawyers, exactly. I wonder how much the lawyers got paid or are getting paid.
Oh, and the media made a shit ton of money off of it, probably just because they were just broadcasting the living heck out of it. ABC. Every time I was on TikTok, ABC would have a live Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial. I'm like, I don't give a crap about this.
You know what I'd like to see? What I'd like to see is like some Ghislaine Maxwell stuff.
Yay! Show me the juicy stuff. You know, we got hand-drawn pictures because apparently in, federal criminal court, you're not allowed to record that. But, during a civil case that doesn't really pertain to anything, it's blasted all over. Hey, pay attention. Bread circuses, that's how it works,
It's just interesting that what I read was Johnny Depp hands down won the trial in the United States. But if you go over across the pond, like in the UK, Amber Heard won. Amber Heard was polling better in the UK than Johnny Depp was. I don't know. I don't get what people.
Is she British?
I don't think so. I don't know. I have no idea. The first and only time I heard of her is she was Aquaman. She was an Aquaman. And then I heard that she was like super difficult. She was a very, very difficult artist and a difficult actor to work with.
No, other than that, Texan.
Damn it. Damn it. Okay, she's Texan. Great.
She is from Austin, though.
Okay, so basically California.
There you go.
All right, cool. All right, I don't have to claim her. So anyway, let me see. Johnny Depp was not present at the reading of the verdict, but released a statement. He said, "Thank you. You've given me my life back." Amber Heard released a statement as well. She said, "The disappointment I feel today is beyond words. I'm heartbroken that the mountain of evidence still was not enough to stand up to the disproportionate power, influence, and sway of my ex-husband. I am even more disappointed at what this verdict means for other women. It's a setback." Then she rambled on about her First Amendment rights of free speech being overlooked. I don't know. Personally, I believe it's a setback for women who like to make up shit about their exes.
Well, it's a screwed up part about it is this whole thing. Oh, I don't want to get into that. Women who cry wolf are the worst in my eyes. That's just, it ruins it for the women who are actually victims of actual legitimate, like, domestic abuse and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because, and it screws men over.
And this really takes out, that Me Too movement and stuff. It kind of flattens one of the tires on that movement because it's just like, really? I mean, how much, you can't just say believe all women now, because obviously you can't. It sucks because the victims of abuse, both men and women in relationships, these things need to be taken care of and heard in the courts. They don't need to be. This is just. I mean, it's you can't.
It was
just,
a civil suit.
Oh my gosh.
It's the sad part about it. It's just a civil suit. They made a big deal out of it. They turned it into the O.J. Simpson of the.
Did it even?
I guess
it lasted longer than the O.J. trial, didn't it?
It's the Gen Z. It was the Gen Z. Well, no, I think O.J. trial went over a year. I don't know if this went over a year.
Okay. No, it seemed like it.
No, this is the O.J. trial of this generation, I guess, is what you would call it. Even though, everyone's all involved with it. Everyone's all about it. All my friends were talking about it. I was like, I haven't watched a single bit of it. I could give two fucks.
Dos fuckos.
Like, no fucks given.
Yeah, I don't.
Both of them are worth more money than I'll ever see in my life. I could care less at that point.
But people. I mean, there are people out there who are enamored, with sports teams or cars. Some people are just completely enamored with celebrity and the Real Housewives and the cribs and the just everything about famous people. And I think those are the only people that really care about this. I'm really glad that Johnny Depp didn't get raked over the coals on this. I mean, he's
a good guy, I guess. Apparently,
even though I don't even know if he's a good guy. I just think he was just. He was just
I
put
think
in
it'd
a
be cool
super.
to have a couple beers with the guy. Want a mega pint? I'd have a couple mega pints with him.
Yeah, but then he'd have to. Then it'd have to be done in private because unless he's in some kind of an other disguise, people are going to come up and just they want to talk to Jack Sparrow.
That whole trial, though, every time I saw bits and pieces of it,
I saw little pieces. Even in this picture here, I see little pieces of Jack Sparrow.
Jack Sparrow. Like, is Johnny Depp through? Maybe it's Jack Sparrow playing Johnny Depp.
Anyway, I hope this is over and done with and gone out of the headlines because I don't know about anybody else. It didn't capture my attention. It's something that probably needed to go to court anyway. I mean, because if she's talking, and this, I'm going to break it down non-lawyer style here. She's talking shit, and her talking shit on a national publication cost him work. And it's probably going to cost him even now. Hopefully, I want to see him on the screen again, man. I really enjoy his movies. Not just the Pirates of the Caribbean, man. It's just he's an excellent actor. He really is.
How do we go from talking about landing on the moon to pooping on beds? That's how.
That's the only thing that I remember from it. She crapped on his bed, but
no. I mean, our society in general is like 30, 40 years ago. We're talking about, hey, we're going to Mars, and now we're actors shitting on each other's beds. Society is collapsing, people.
Faster than we all thought it would. So, hey, before I go any further, I do want to mention that of our listeners who are in the Florida area, they got some weather. I guess the storm season's starting just a little bit early, Stefan. I'm talking to you, brother. I guess you're having a barbecue this weekend. You always have that hurricane party.
No, that's not a hurricane. That's a cyclone.
No, yeah. Well, it's a tropical depression right now, but
yeah. I mean, I don't think Florida's been hit by a hurricane in like 2 years now.
Really? I think they've been. I don't think there's been a direct hit. I don't know. Maybe there was. It's been a couple of years since they've gotten like completely hammered with.
Floridians love hurricanes. That's all I gotta say.
Well, it hasn't been the what was that Air Force base that got just completely jacked up? Hurricane Keith?
Talking about...
Was that Keith?
No. Which Air Force base? Which Air Force base are you talking about? No?
The one with the Air Force stuff on it.
The one on that's a naval base. Trying to think.
Oh, it's the one on the peninsula.
Oh, that thing, yeah. The dangly bit. America's dangly bit.
I don't know. This is all Homestead. That's it. Thanks, Bob. Bob Bulow for the win.
That's the
Homestead Air Force Base. Anyway, the Atlantic hurricane season's first tropical depression and potentially the first tropical storm could form this weekend. The building storm is expected to slice across the Florida peninsula with torrential rains and produce rough seas and surf in the region. Meteorologists say that there is some risk that the tropical rainstorm, which will be named Alex, could cross Florida at the end of this week and into the northern Bahamas later on. So, look out, Bahamas.
Looking at the spaghetti graph, there's that one line and it's got a barrel and right for me. I'm like, please send it. Please send it.
Well, those spaghetti graphs are great because you have like, let's say there's 10 predictions, and most of them carry the same path, and then you got that other one that goes up to like Illinois. That one random ass.
Yeah, there's one that's like it's wrecking right across the cop. Like, bring it, send it, send it.
So stay safe, Floridians.
It's another day in paradise.
So we had it was an interesting week this week for DUIs. I don't like to make fun of DUIs.
No,
I think they're very serious, and I think that if you have been having some drinks, that you should Uber.
Definitely shouldn't drive.
Don't drive. Call a friend.
Especially if you're rich, call your driver.
You're worth $500 million, let's say, and you decide to drive. That's not. I don't care if you're worth $20. Don't drink and drive. But Paul Pelosi, you might recognize the last name, the husband of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Oh yeah, here's more Florida stuff. That's like the general path. Anyway, Paul Pelosi, the husband of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, was charged with DUI in Napa County, California, on Saturday night. Bail for Mr. Pelosi, aged 82, was set at $5,000. County records show that he was released from custody on Sunday morning after he had sobered up. The charges he faces will be a misdemeanor. I thought DUIs were felonies.
No,
they're not.
No, they're a class 1 misdemeanor.
Oh, I guess if it's DUI and then there's other circumstances.
Yeah, you start to add things on.
Then you start adding it onto it. I got it. Yeah. I got it. So he was driving his 2021 Porsche and attempted to cross the road when he was hit by a Jeep. And no one was injured. How do you get hit by a Jeep and no one gets injured?
He's driving a Porsche. I thought they were Tesla people.
Oh, I don't know.
He's got a lot of stocks in Tesla.
He might have a Tesla. He might have a Porsche too, or he has a Porsche. He might have a Tesla too. So I'm curious how this is going to proceed in court. After all, his wife Nancy is the crypt keeper, and she's a U.S. senator, and they have multiple millions of dollars, and then friends in high places. So I really wonder if this is going to be a
hush.
Give us $10,000 for processing fees or whatever, and then make a generous donation to some drug rehab or alcohol rehab or something.
The fact that he was bonded on a Sunday says it all on that point.
Oh my gosh.
If you even know how the criminal justice system works in most states, if you get caught up on a charge on a Friday night,
on a holiday weekend,
yes, you will wait until that holiday weekend is over until you're spending maybe 3 or 4 nights in jail easy at that point. But he got bonded on a Sunday. Some judge was called up and was like, "Hey, get him out now."
He was bonded on a Sunday on a holiday weekend.
Yeah.
Ooh. Because we always post, "Hey, you better behave yourself because the judge isn't going to be back in the courtroom until Tuesday." Well, unless you're Paul Pelosi, or unless you've got connections.
Any little man would have just sat there. This was Memorial Day weekend, too, wasn't it?
Yep. Yeah. It was last weekend.
If you would have caught everyone who caught a DUI in that same area at the time waited till Tuesday morning to get their bond.
Oh my gosh. That didn't even cross my mind. What day of the week? Of course, what holiday weekend? Oh my gosh. Yeah.
See the rules for thee, not for me at that point.
That's interesting that you brought that up, Pooky. That's why we got the big brain Pooky here on the show. Hey, what's going on, Elizabeth? Thanks for joining again. You're becoming quite the regular. We appreciate it. So that was the high-profile DUI. It's not a very exciting story. Rich dude gets a DUI, bonds out.
If I'm 81 years old and I'm filthy rich, I'm not driving anywhere. I'm riding in the back like every normal rich person does. just drive me, driver. Alfred, take me to get some pizza. I'm drunk.
You have to, and you're going to have to hire someone whose name is legitimately Alfred. Interview like 5,000 people. No, dude, you fit the criteria, but one. Your name has to be Alfred. There was another DUI. It's kind of high visibility person. Not really. It's the son of a high visibility person. So officers say the calls to 911 started coming in around 4:40 p.m. on Memorial Day. Witnesses reported seeing an SUV hit the median at a pretty good clip. They say that the crash caused a flat tire and the car to start smoking, but the driver kept on going. Other callers say that the driver was all over the road and he was now missing a front tire. They eventually stopped the car at a dealership, and he appeared to be not intoxicated, not inebriated, not drunk. They described him as super drunk. Employees told police that the driver, 30-year-old Jordan Mattingly, was trying to sell his SUV. He pulled into a car dealership, and he started trying to sell his SUV to the dealership. Police say that he had swelling and scratches if he had just been in a crash, because he was. They say Mattingly smelled of alcohol and almost fell over several times. Officers gave him a breathalyzer, and he blew a 291.
Alcohol poisoning.
Yeah, that's very, very close to alcohol poisoning. Police say that inside of, and I think you might get a kick out of this. Police say that inside of his SUV they found 4 Loco cans.
Oh, that'll do it. That'll do it.
And an empty can of White Claw.
Oh, the White Claw said that's the one that did him in too.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws, right? So Jordan Mattingly is the son of the manager for the Miami Marlins and former professional baseball player Don Mattingly. So I did look into this story a little bit. Jordan Mattingly, the guy who blew the almost .3, has super bad alcoholism. He's had a problem with alcohol for a very, very, very long time. He's only 30 years old. I don't even know if he's been in and out of rehab, but he has an extremely hard time with alcohol. He's got, what do they call that? Alcoholic liver disease. He's got it bad. I mean, he's really in a tough place. I hope he can straighten himself out. I really don't think that he sold his car though, as hard as he tried.
So you said he blew a .2
.291.
Confusion, feeling dazed, disoriented, sensations of pain will change. Also, if you fall or suddenly hurt yourself.
Dude, I wake up like that.
Yeah.
With no alcohol in my system.
Blackouts begin at this BAC, so you may participate. Yeah, you don't even he was completely blacked out at that point. Huh?
So I'm looking at him. I mean, he's probably 180, maybe 200 pounds. You got a BAC chart there, how much alcohol he had to drink?
How did you say was that?
What's that?
How much did you say he weighed?
I'm guessing between 180 and 200.
So with some malt liquor, 8 ounces at that point, he was drinking. You said he was drinking 4 Locos, right? No?
Yeah, it said 4 Locos and 1 White Claw.
Oh, it probably had to consume probably about 8 or 9 of them things at that point to be like that, huh?
8 or 9 will make you. I don't know, because they're high on.
They're 14%. They're higher. They're actually higher than wine at that point. Oof. 4 Locos. That's why I drink them. I drink 2 and I'm good. That's it. I'm normally after I'm done with the second one, I'm going to sleep.
You're like,
screw this shit.
No, I'm not leaving the house. I don't care how good of an idea that sounds.
No, I'm in for the night.
Oh, it's not time to go. It's not time to get the rifle and go hunting.
Nope.
Gosh, man, we did when I was at Fort Hood. We had this thing called, and I was a young man. When we're young, we do stupid stuff, but we had this thing called the 300 Club. So over this 4-day weekend, we'd go down to from Hood, we'd go down to the Guadalupe River. If anybody's been at Fort Hood, you know what the Guadalupe River is.
Oh, yeah. Sunburn Central.
So we would go and camp out at Fort Sam Houston Recreation Area on Canyon Lake. They have property out there for MWR activities. So we would just go there and camp. We'd set up. A lot of times we wouldn't even set up the tent. We'd just kind of string a hammock between a couple of trees if the weather was going to be nice, and just proceed.
Get chewed up by mosquitoes.
Oh yeah, I mean, but we would bring like cans and cans and cans of bug spray and stuff. So it was okay. We didn't get bit up too bad, but we had this thing called the 300 Club. We're going to drink 300 beers collectively over the weekend. But we would sit and we'd just get just hammered, dude. And we had a couple of guys that would try. They're like, I'm going to swim across the lake. I'm like, no, the fuck you're not.
No. So there's that one guy that wants to go above and beyond. It's like, you just stop being a try hard, sit down, drink another beer, fool.
So we'd go and walk around and stuff. We'd get there, we'd set up camp. We'd just go, we're kind of bored. It's hot, so we'd go and swim a little bit in the lake. Walk around, and then, these guys, I'm not going to name names, man, but they would see it. They're like, oh, this guy's got his family here. He's flying a Navy flag. I'm stealing that motherfucker tonight. Oh, God. So
I've been there, done that.
I mean, people just they get intoxicated. Their decision-making powers are gone. They don't make good decisions. That's why you should never, ever, ever, ever make a life-altering decision when you're intoxicated.
That's why you're not allowed to sign contracts when you're drunk.
No, you're not allowed to get tattoos when you're drunk either. But because I heard you bleed a lot. I don't.
My first tattoo, I was drunk as hell when I got it. So
I don't have any. I don't have any.
My second tattoo, I got it from a carny, and he was drunk as hell when he gave it to me. And he was drinking Four Loko. That's the funny part about it. He's like, hey, before I start this tattoo, let's go to the shop. You want something to drink? I was like, yeah, I'll grab me some beer. He's like, I don't mind if you. I was like, I'll drink a couple beers, all right. And he's like, okay. He comes out with like Four Lokos, and by the time he was done with my tattoos, he had done drank all Four Lokos. So my tattoo came out awesome. So I don't give a shit.
Man, that could have gone the other way. We could have been seeing Pookie's arm with one of those no regrets or whatever that says on a guy's chest.
Greatest guy on the planet, man. Best tattoo artist I've ever had. Actually, I wish I could. I don't even know if he's still tattooing. He was an older Navy guy, but he was a carny too. So he was this Vietnam era.
Those Navy folks, you can never really fully trust them. But I'm glad he did a really good job. Oh, today's National Donut Day. Found that out by accident reading our ops chat.
Got a thunderstorm rolling through.
Hopefully that's not the storm that just rolled through here.
They just keep hearing boom, boom, boom behind me. It's freaking me out.
Incoming! You see Pookie jump into the damn closet and come out with his plates on and shotgun in hand, which is over in the corner. And so speaking of explosions and bang, bang, bang and stuff, okay, with all the shootings that have been happening, it's just I think it's crazy that that politicians on both sides do nothing but politicize this. People are suffering. People are obviously in really, really bad shape, but they're posturing themselves for one reason or another and saying things. And the party in power is actually saying things that are actually very damaging toward the right to keep and bear arms. And they're gonna. This guy right here, I've never heard of this dude before, but he kind of seals the deal for me, man. I don't like him. just because of certain things that he said. A Democrat lawmaker on the House Judiciary Committee this week said that efforts to confiscate civilian-owned firearms will not be stopped. He then threatened, "We will expand the Supreme Court if it objects to the new gun control measures." During a Thursday hearing, this happened this week, to consider a bunch of new gun control proposals, Representative Mondaire Jones, Democrat of New York, addressed opponents of the new gun control efforts by saying, "Enough of you telling us that school shootings are a fact of life." I've never heard anybody say that school shootings are a fact of life. Enough of you blaming mental illness and then defunding mental health care in this country. Enough of your thoughts and prayers. These gun-grabbing politicians will stop at nothing unless every American is disarmed. Jones kind of tipped his hand by his statement by saying that, quote, "We will expand the Supreme Court if it objects to new gun control measures." That is scary as shit to me.
It's a power grab is what it is at that point, huh?
I mean, one thing I do agree is that we should be funding mental health efforts more than we are, for both adolescents and adults, not cutting back.
How long has this country been a country?
200 plus math. A lot.
I suck at math. So over 200 years. So for over 200 years, we've had the right to keep bear arms, right?
All of a sudden, this is a problem.
Now they want to take it away from us?
But it's because the AR-15 was invented.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
It's the AR-15's fault.
It's a weapon of war, but black powder rifles, they have no problem with that. But that is a weapon of war as well. So I'm just going. I don't get me going with that. No. Dude, this is something though. You were talking about shootings and mass shootings and stuff like that. Over the Memorial Day weekend in Chicago, 47 people were shot. 9 fatally died.
Damn.
Fatally. So that is just in one weekend in Chicago.
Yikes.
Chicago has the strictest gun laws of what any city. So, I mean, maybe the gun laws are the problem at this point, no?
No, but one thing I do agree with, that is, it is the mental capacity of people that are having these guns. That the dude that shot up Uvalde, the school in Uvalde, that dude was a mental case. Should have been picked up a long time ago. I mean, he was making public statements like on Facebook and whatnot.
Waiting periods, I agree with. I totally agree with that. You should not just be able to go into a store and, like a week, a month, maybe, wait for the background check to come in. I shouldn't be able to walk into a store and then walk out with them.
I did. I mean, if you got a concealed license here in Texas, you can walk in and walk out without a background check.
But then went through the background check process.
The last two guns that I bought, I walked in, paid my money, went through a background check, a NICS check, walked out with ammo. I bought ammo too. That's kind of.
But you had a concealed carry license, right?
No, I don't. I don't have a concealed license.
Oh, I thought you said you had already had a concealed carry license.
No. If you have a concealed carry license, you can walk in and it's like you're buying a shirt off the rack. I would like that gun, please. Here's my concealed. Here's my yeah. I mean, because you've already gone through the background check.
Mm-hmm. The waiting period. I'm big about waiting periods. No one should I really don't like the idea of just hey, I feel like buying a pistol today and go in and buy a pistol. The first 3-day waiting period, week waiting period, I'm fine with that. No?
The first gun I bought, it was back in, I think it was 90. I was at Fort Campbell. I bought a rifle. It was a rifle. It was a Marlin 30-30 with a scope. It was a beautiful gun. Paid like $200 for it. Went to a gun show. Paid the guy $200, walked out with a rifle. Second gun I bought was an HK-40. That one I had to. This was in Texas. I had to, if I remember correctly, I had to wait. It was like a 10-day waiting period on that one. And that's a difference of a few years. I was gonna say, it was pre-1994.
It was 91.
I think 91 is when I bought the Marlin, the rifle, and I just walked in, walked out. Did that in Tennessee. The HK that I bought that while I was in Texas, and there was a waiting period, and that was around 94, 95, probably 94. I don't mind if I want I don't need it now.
No, that's the thing. Is what I'm saying is there should be a waiting period. There should be a decent background. I mean, background checks. Yes, I agree with that. You know, like my grandfather was telling me, like he's like, oh, I think he said something along the lines. He went into a store to buy his first hunting rifle. He just walked into I think it was like a hardware store. Just said, hey, I want that, and I want the ammo, and no questions asked at that point.
It's been a long time. I haven't been in a pawn shop in years. But I remember around Fort Hood, you could walk in, and there was always, you can just buy shotguns, long rifles. I don't remember seeing ARs, which is nothing more.
I think
ARs
anything that's a single shot, like the Derringer or like a breech load shotgun, or your little single shot, you have to actually take the time to reload it.
Uh-huh.
That to me, it should be just like that. Like just go in there and be like, hey, I'd like to buy that shotgun that shoots one round as fast as I can freaking reload it, and there should be no questions about that at that point. Huh?
Do you know anybody that has a bump stock?
No, I don't.
I don't.
You don't need a bump stock to bump fire a semi-automatic rifle.
No, you don't. It was just a random ass question. I don't know anybody that has one or has ever fired one. That's completely off the subject. But yeah, there's the administration's coming out. They're trying to come out with a bunch of regulations regarding the restriction of of firearms that don't necessarily violate your constitutional right to keep and bear arms, but they make it so freaking difficult. Like an 18-round Glock, making it just capable of firing 10 rounds, not 18.
The one I saw was background checks for ghost guns.
Background checks for ghost guns.
I think that was one of the bills that they were trying to pass. It's like, it makes no sense to me.
So when they say ghost guns, okay, first they have never ever defined what an assault weapon is, or a weapon of war. What's a weapon of war? Dude, this bottle of water that sits on my desk is a weapon of war, along with these wire cutters and this pen and the baseball bat in the corner.
Men have literally beat each other to death in the trenches of World War II with their bare fists.
Yep.
World War I, I meant. Sorry, not World War II. But they've literally, during the trench fighting, anything in war is a weapon. A rock, my teeth, my fists.
That fucking hat that you're wearing.
Yeah.
Damn it.
If I'm trying to stay alive, everything around me is a weapon. The air that I breathe is a weapon.
Fight like you're the third monkey on the ark.
Exactly.
So that's that. Ghost. Okay. Let's cover this really quickly because I got one more story I want to do. What's a ghost gun? A ghost gun is just someone has manufactured that doesn't have a serial number. Do I have that kind of correct?
I don't even know because according to ATF regs, you can manufacture your own firearms as long as you put a serial number on there.
Just write the word or the number one.
You gotta put who manufactured it and the serial number on it. No? At least that's what I got from.
So it's weapons that have been manufactured that don't have serial numbers.
I guess if it doesn't have a serial number on it.
And I don't care what anybody says. I'm not firing a shot out of anything that's been 3D printed.
No.
All right, let's last story before Janae comes online here. And Janae, if you're listening, we're going to be going to break at the top of the hour. Call during the second song, or call after the first song. That would be awesome. So metal fans out there, when you think of heavy metal, you're thinking of Iron Maiden, Pantera, Motley Crue. For some of you folks, maybe Guns N' Roses or something.
It's not metal.
It's not metal. But Pantera was formed here in my hometown here.
Texas.
So a local piece of history. Metal is now gone. Gone. It is gone. The owner of the, check this out, dude, the square footage on this house, 3,784 square foot mansion here in Arlington, Texas, once owned and occupied by Pantera drummer Vinnie Paul. He tore it down just a few months after purchasing it in February. He bought it a few months ago and he tore it down. It was an empty house, 2-story, 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom mansion, went on the market in early February, and a buyer stepped in and scooped it up just over a few days. Vinnie Paul, drummer of Pantera, died in 2018 at the age of 54 from a heart condition. So check this house out. I don't have, there's no house.
They're calling that a mansion?
Dude, 3,700 square feet.
That's a freaking normal house in Houston.
It looks normal, but it's massive, dude. The house was built in 1995, and it sat on 1.5 acres. It goes deep.
I see. All right. It's on a cul-de-sac. I can see that too.
Yep. Yes. And it was built for under $350,000 in 1995. Yep. The main living areas have 30-foot tall ceilings.
Oh, the cooling bill on that house is probably insane.
Or the amount of ceiling fans they have is probably pretty wicked. It has an inviting backyard area with a pool, an attached spa, a sauna, and a living area for outdoor dining. The home has four top-of-the-line AC units and an electric backup generator. So the home sold in February for $778,000 for $205 per square foot, which by today's standard, not 3-4 months ago, this today's standard, that's pretty inexpensive. So $778,000 for a house that costs $350,000. You can't touch a 3-bedroom house here that's 2,000 square feet for under $350,000, $400,000.
It's like a Meyer. It's a 3-bedroom home, 2-bath, 2,500 square foot. They're going for almost $500,000 pop right now.
It's nuts because the house that I live in, when I bought it, I'm like, okay, I'm going to fix this up. I'm going to sell it, and then I'm going to move into something that I want to build. I want to move into it in a new neighborhood, new house, no problems. But man, real estate market just kind of exploded. So now I can sell my house for twice what I bought it for, but then I'm going to spend that money to live somewhere else. So I might as well stay where I'm at.
Yep. That's the hold at this point. Hold them.
Yeah, Keith Miller says cheap money and serious market imbalance. It's going to level out at some point. I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know how to predict these things, but it's going to level out. And yes, I'm not going to get as much money for my house as I could have if I sold it today, but I'll be able to afford somewhere else to live. I don't want to. My brother did that. He made more than double because he just wanted to see, hey, let's list our house for this super high price. And they had bites. And then there was a bidding war between like 10 different people. And the price kept on going up, and the price kept on going up. He made probably $500,000 on the
to the point
house.
where it was just forced to sell out because it was just like, this is too ludicrous for me not to fucking sell at that point. Then.
Yeah, it is. But now, I mean, he moved his family again into a house that he's paying rent for, but his rent is $3,000 a month.
Oh, I would have never went from selling a house to rent a house. Ooh.
I mean,
it's rough.
I mean, he's gonna spend
move to Wyoming.
He'll spend $100. Well, he's a law enforcement officer, so and he's gonna retire, and he's an investigator now, but he's gonna retire in a few years, like 3 years.
Okay.
But so you got to figure he's gonna spend $100,000 in rent over the next 3 years until he retires, and he's probably gonna move down somewhere, Alabama or Florida. I think is on his short list. I want him to move to Texas, man. I don't see my brother nearly enough. I went up to Chicago to see my family for Christmas, and that little son of a bitch got COVID. I
Just didn't
couldn't,
want to hang out.
dude. I couldn't. I know, Dick.
He
I
just
couldn't
didn't want to hang out.
I couldn't hug
He's
him
like,
or
"Oh, I got
nothing.
COVID."
I couldn't. I mean, because we went to his house. Everyone went to his house, but we just kind of stood in the garage, freezing our asses off, and talked and caught up, and that was it. That sucked.
He just didn't want to hang out with you.
That's what that's what I think it is. He really didn't have COVID. He just didn't want to talk to me. So anyway, I think we're getting about time to take a break. Oh my goodness, it is time to take a break. So when we come back, after this very short break, Janae Sergio is going to be on here, and we're going to talk about her new book, how she's doing, and we're going to catch up a little bit. So y'all hang out and come back in just a few minutes, and we'll talk to Janae. Shots.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
WTF Nation Radio.
This is WTF Nation Radio.
in the Navy, and then I transitioned out and have subsequently worked my way up through the federal. I'm currently the Chief of Air Force Lodging, as well as have gained about 500,000 followers on social media, where I get to share my story and hopefully inspire a lot of people.
See, I saw that on your bio, and I'm like, what does that mean, Chief of Air Force Lodging?
Yes.
Air Force goes through Janae Sergio to find rooms at 5-star hotels.
5-star, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, we have 88 Air Force inns that I oversee.
Okay. So you're handling like the TDYs,
Yes,
lodging and
PCSs.
whatever PCSs. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so that makes sense, because at first I misread it. I'm like, she's a chef now? No, chief.
Yes, the chief. There's the Air Force has the largest lodging portfolio. So, with the Navy and the Army, you don't need as much, but with the Air Force, we need 88 of them.
So growing up, it kills me, homeless from 16 to 18. And the only reason you weren't homeless is because you joined the Navy.
Yes.
That story is awesome. What was it, desperation that drew you to military service, and it just ended up working out well? Or
Yes.
You had such a horrible childhood for a period of time. I don't know if the whole thing was like that, but it was really, really difficult for a long time.
Yeah, it was really bad. I endured a lot of abuse, both physical and emotional abuse as a child. And as I got into my teen years, I started to kind of question the life that I was living and try to get away from it a little bit. I ended up having a tragic accident happen to me at 16. And my mom decided that she no longer wanted me in the home. She took me 2.5 hours away to Hollywood, and she dropped me off at night at a homeless shelter in Hollywood, California. And it's more of a drop-in shelter where you have to kind of show up and hope that there's a bed available for you. And that was what I had to do every night for the first few months that I was living on the streets in Hollywood.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes. When I joined the Navy, I didn't even, the military was not even in my vision. I had no idea that was even an option. But living homeless and being part of the system, it's a challenge to try to get out of that. I was trying to go to school and graduate, but at the same time I needed to work while I was still in survival mode. And I just didn't really see where my future would go. And one of my girlfriends came to me and was like, I joined the Navy. And I'm like, what even is that? And, because I had been homeless. Like, I wasn't up to speed with what was going on in the world. And we were at peacetime, and they invited me out to Carl's Jr. for a cheeseburger. And
that's how they get you. That's how they get you. That's how they get you.
It was good. I got the best cheeseburger I could find on the menu because I was homeless. I was like, free food.
You're like, hell yeah. Where do I sign?
Right. And then, of course, the recruiter said things like, there's a bowling alley on the ship. You'll always be next to the ocean. He did a great job of selling it to me, and I fell right into it, thankfully, because it really did change my story.
It was a good move. And I would recommend it for anybody.
Absolutely.
So you spent some years in the Navy, got out.
Yes.
I think the reason why we talked to you in 2018 is you came across our desk as someone who was you were being photographed, and it was like veteran. It was a veteran photography thing, because we had done stuff with pinups for vets around the same time, and then your photos came across, and you wanted to be on, or we had asked you to be on.
Yeah, I was actually participating or competing in the Maxim Cover Girl contest.
That's it.
To raise.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
To raise money for homeless veterans. And I won the journey. My story got out, and I was able to gain a large following where I can now share my story. But I did not win the contest, and I'm still friends with the girl who did, so that's okay. That's
good. Because there were some great photographs, and I've had a rough day. I didn't have time to grab those photos, and I know we've got them somewhere. Just beautiful photographs, and there was some stiff competition, very stiff competition.
Yes. It was really close call, but
and it was the thing is, it was fun. I remember you saying it was just fun. The whole
That's what it
experience
was
was fun.
about.
Yeah.
Yes, it's completely about the journey, and that's with anything in life. I have a saying that I posted last night, and I said, I never lose. I either win or I learn. I had a great time, and I was able to take that and really transition it to where I am today. So I've spent the last few years just sharing my story on social media. Last year, I got invited to the Drew Barrymore show. And after I was on the Drew Barrymore show, I was like, I really do want to write a book and actually share my story with the world. And that was scary.
And that's what you've been doing for the last 4 years, because that's where it ended, was the photo thing. And I've been following you on social media here and there, and I see you pop up, and then you disappear. And then you pop back up again, and then you disappear.
That sounds about right.
But you've done a lot in the last 4 years.
Yes, I started an online boutique that's been very successful. I wrote the book. I've been doing a lot to help the homeless community, to raise awareness for at-risk youth, and then also just a few promotions I've gotten with the federal since then as well. Very busy.
So tell me about your book, Perfectly Flawed.
So my book is called Perfectly Flawed. It is available on Amazon. It's Perfectly Flawed, A Veteran's Journey from Homeless to Hero. And that was the headline that was shared in 2018 when my story was shared. And I really wanted to get the message out that you can be your own hero. No one's coming to save you. It's not that they don't want to save you, and it's not that you shouldn't be trying to save other people or help other people, but really people kind of have things going on in their life, and you may not be able to be that priority for them. So always be your own hero and be ready to come in and rescue yourself. And so I tell the story all the way from childhood until now of all that I've been through. It is very intimate. It is very detailed. There's a lot in there about sexual abuse, sexual trauma, going to war, juggling work and being a mom, and then my journey on social media and opening my business. So a lot of great information and very inspiring. So
talking about, I came up in a rough house. I was abused and I was sexually assaulted, and that's something that you can mention in a conversation or in an interview. But to actually spill those words out in a book, did you find that to be difficult, or did you find that to maybe have a healing?
Both. It was incredibly challenging. Like you said, when you tell the story in a conversation, you kind of keep it at a surface level. You don't go into the details, the smells, the items that were around you, the color of clothes that were being worn. But when you write a book, you have to actually relive that moment. And so reliving those traumatic moments, there were times where I had to just stop, walk away, take time to process emotions that I had suppressed over the years, and then come back and write that. But in addition to that, I caught myself trauma dumping. I was just writing all the traumas that had happened, and I was getting angry.
Dude, I bet you that was therapeutic as hell. It didn't end up in the book, but it was probably really therapeutic.
Yes, it absolutely was. I needed to process that. I needed to go through those emotions. But then I needed to remind myself of what it was that pulled me through those situations. And that's when I kind of set all of that aside. I basically ripped it all up and started all over again. And I just added in some of those events and incorporated the mindset that I used in order to pull through. So it was very challenging, very emotional.
You stumbled across therapy that people pay thousands and thousands of dollars for.
Yeah. Yes. And now you only have to pay $24 to get some.
And we can get that on Amazon, right?
Yes, I did all the work for you.
Is that a self-published book, or did you? Okay. I was wondering,
self-published.
Did you try to get it published like through a big publisher? And
no, I just went straight into self-publishing. I've kind of done that with everything. That's how I started my business. I just started from the ground up on my own. Just kind of get out there and go for it.
It's kind of like how we do this on the radio station when we have a lot of technical difficulties. And fuck it, we're going to do it live, and just do it. And it might be wrong, but it's going to get done.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that your book is wrong. I mean, did you have to deal with editors, or did you? It's like
I did. I
Okay, good.
Yeah, I had a book coach and I had an editor who helped me out with making sure I stayed in line with what, the proper flow, and then just helping me with getting it published. So I did have some help.
It's like mixing and mastering. It's like writing a song or an album, and then you mix it and you master it yourself, and you're like, this sounds great, and it really doesn't sound great. And you're like, I'm going to publish this. All right, bro.
Well, it's so funny you say that, though, because as we got to the end, I was kind of getting mad at the people around me because they were like, it's really good. And I'm like, no, you're not giving me criticism. And they're like, I'm telling you, this book is incredible. And I didn't believe them. And I thought, because
you want people to criticize you. I mean, give me some criticism. And they're like, no, it's okay. No, what do you mean? What do you mean it's okay?
Yeah, exactly. And then I actually got the feedback, and that's what I'm getting from everyone. I'm like, wow, maybe these people were telling the truth. I thought they were just like, blowing smoke up my. Because
everyone does. I mean, everyone wants to be nice and stuff, but I mean, if you're going to write a book, you're putting yourself out there, and people who are supposed to be critical need to be critical, and I'm glad that they were, or they would have been. Did you get some criticisms that you didn't quite agree with?
Not really. I think, like I said in the beginning, when I was doing that trauma dumping, it was kind of like, okay, you're not giving enough information. I was like, well, I don't want to go that deep, because, you kind of have this fear. And I know, because you said you've been through trauma yourself, of like, once those details are out there, people who want to can use it to hurt you. And so I think I kind of had that fear of like, now they're going to know my deepest, darkest sadnesses, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. And so they were like, no, you got to put more details. And I'm like, I don't want those details in there, but I put them.
So this isn't just Janae the Juggernaut. I mean, you've got a supportive family behind you. Your husband's very supportive, I'm guessing.
Yes, absolutely. My husband, my daughters came in and checked on me every night. The writing process was in the middle of the night while they were sleeping, so that they didn't really have to. I didn't want them to see me going through all of that trauma. But before they would go to bed, they would come in and check on me, make sure I was okay.
Mom's on her 4th pint of ice cream. What's wrong with her?
Exactly. Why is she in there crying? Throwing things.
Dad, what did you do?
Yeah. He definitely got the brunt of like some of my, not really anger or anything like that, but just sadness, so he was there. We took my childhood friend actually saved about 40 letters that I wrote her at 12 and 13 years old. And she sent those back to me. It was incredible. And so he sat down with me as I read those letters, and I cried my eyes out, because you remember it the way you remember it, but then when you see it from the words that you wrote during that time, it just hits different. And it was tough just rereading those letters. I talked about the sexual trauma that I endured. I went into details in those letters, and that helped me with being able to actually write the book, and I put some of them in the book, actually.
Oh my gosh, my head's spinning. I have no idea how to ask. It's how do you, what made you decide, I'm writing a book, this is going to be in a book? Was there a lot of back and forth, like, I'm going to write a book, and you write some notes and you're like, no, this is a dumb idea? No, I'm going to write a book, oh, this is great, I'm going to continue to do this, and then you did the trauma dump?
Yeah, I wish I was the kind of person who thinks things out before I get into them. But I just jumped right in. And after I got into it, I was like, what did I get myself into? This was probably one of the first times that I considered actually just stopping, because I was like, this is heavy.
It is heavy. It's got, I'm going to order this book and I'm going to read it. I'm probably,
you're going to have to put it down a couple of times.
I'm going to have to put it down, because this kind of content really does not sit well with me. I don't like the abuse. I don't like the sexual abuse of a minor, of an adult, or anything, or the exploitation of anybody. Yeah. And but the thing is, I know how it ends. I know it doesn't. That crap ends. It does end, and then you're a very successful veteran and a businesswoman and an author now. So now I know that everything ends up okay.
Yes, and that's why I wanted to share the story, because I think I share a lot on social media about my life right now, and I have all of this that is part of my journey. That's what makes me perfectly flawed. And I feel like there's people out there who need to know that someone else has been through it and that it's going to be okay. And so I had to kind of go through that process. It was a healing process for me. I helped myself, but if the book helps just one person, it's been worth it for me. And that's really what the goal was, to share it and get it out there and really just help inspire people. And it touches so many things. It touches transitioning as a veteran. I transitioned in 2008 when the economy had crashed. So I kind of go over getting out with the grand expectations that I thought an E5 would land as a job.
That was such a bad couple of years. Oh, I remember those years.
Yes, very tough. And I transitioned exactly that month when it happened. It crashed right there in October. And that was when my transition happened. So prior to that, I thought we were good. Everything was going to be fine. I was going to go to school.
Did you transition from Hawaii into Hawaii, or did you come back?
I was an instructor. I was actually an instructor up in Great Lakes,
Wisconsin.
So I transitioned.
That's
yes.
Illinois, right?
Yes. Up where the boot camp is.
Yeah.
And so I transitioned out of there, and then I ended up going back to San Diego, and I got a job working at the shipyard. And I grew in the federal at the shipyard, and then I was promoted out to Hawaii, and that's when you guys first met me.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. I need a damn notepad, because I've got questions and I forget them as soon as you start telling a story that had nothing to do with my question. Okay, I got a pen. I've got a pen now. So, oh gosh, I got to remember these questions. You can talk if you got something.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll talk a little bit about the transition of getting out of the military again, because
that's a really good subject. That's tough, especially. Yes. It's tough.
A lot of people are going through it now. They're going through
it sucked for me.
What I went through. Yeah. Like when I got out, it was, the economy was doing great. Jobs were plentiful, and I was going to use my GI Bill. Everything was lined up perfectly. I had a savings, but then the economy crashed. I started applying for jobs, and nobody would call me. And before I got out, I remember my chief making jokes. We were at a barbecue, and he was like, "McDonald's isn't going to do this for you, SK2." And I was like, so what are you saying? That's all I'm going to get is McDonald's? So I really wanted to prove that I could do it on my own, because I had heard so much noise about how hard my transition was going to be and how I should have just stayed in. So I wanted to prove that I was going to do well on my own. I tried, and then I ended up just having to reach out to a former shipmate who had already transitioned out of the military and was doing well. And he was the one who really helped me to land an interview that ultimately got me in the door with the federal.
So you were in kind of like a logistics type of job in the Navy. What were you?
I was a storekeeper. My first job was managing the toilet paper storeroom.
Oh,
I take pride in that now. After
COVID,
yeah. We always had 100% inventory. I was on the Stennis. I served 4 years on the Stennis, and as a storekeeper. For the beginning, I was managing the storerooms, and then I ended up doing aviation supply. So I was the expediter for non-mission capable and partial mission capable aircraft that were embedded on the ship during our deployment.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So you went into GS afterwards?
Yes.
I'm guessing.
I came in as a contractor, and then I came in as a GS-11, and now I'm at the 14 level.
Super awesome.
Pretty good transition, considering my chief thought I was going to go to work at McDonald's.
Maybe you can give him a job when he gets out. Yeah. Has he got out yet? Did he retire yet?
I don't know where he is, but there was a master chief who terrorized me when I was on the ship. He terrorized me, and I ended up actually beating him out for my first GS-11 job. And so he really gave me a hard time about that. I was like, hey. That's why I have a saying, and it's treat everyone as if they're superior to you, because in some way they are. You just never know when the tables are going to turn and when you're going to need somebody who is in your life. And so I feel like you should always treat people with respect.
That's an interesting thing that you said, because the job that I'm in now, it's I lost it in 2008 during the downturn. Ended up I work in aviation as well, as an avionics person. So I jumped from like mom and pop shop to a completion center to, I'm all rotor wing, so I'm all helicopters. But it finally came time for me to come back home to the company that the old girlfriend that kicked me out. She wanted me back. And then I went in for an interview, and they're like, we definitely want you back. Here's your start date. Here's your salary. And I was happy with that. Then I came back, and during my orientation, this guy that we were technicians side by side, and now he was like a level 5 engineer, a lab architect guy. And I'm just like, holy crap. We used to like throw banana peels at each other after lunch every day. And now you're like running several different development labs, and it's really cool to not burn bridges. And even if the bridges were burned, and I'm guilty of not maintaining these bridges, I had, I got on LinkedIn, and then I was contacted by an old squad leader that I had, and he was a dick. I didn't like him, and he was asking me for some referrals to get in at my company, and I told him no. I'm like, dude, I don't like you. I'm not the guy to talk to. Sorry. I was honest. And that's all you can be.
Well, and it's so important to leave an impression. When I was working at NAPSUP, a lot of the sailors that were getting out, I would kind of coach them and say, hey, make sure you leave a good impression, because you may not think you want to work here when you get out, but you just don't know what's going to happen. And you may need this lifeline. And so don't burn the bridges here. Don't, treat this as kind of a skate job. And so I would always try to give that advice and that mentorship. I've always given mentorship to those who work beside me in that realm, because you just never know when you're going to need the person next to you. And honestly, just mutual respect is a good thing to have.
I try to. I don't like people being inept or incapable or unable to think for themselves. So I judge very personally. It's more than a professional judgment. It's a personal judgment, because I judge someone who doesn't take pride in their work. Yeah. And then when it comes back around and they're wanting a hand up, or maybe a move into a different department or something, I'm just like, I remember, recently, or even, 5 years ago when you did that, or the way that you approach the job. It makes a difference. It really makes a difference.
Yeah, I think in the federal, what I've seen though is even with the military, is that sometimes our careers outlive our marriages, our families, and so there's so many highs and lows that people go through that you just never know where somebody's at when you encounter them. And especially with the military, because we only get to lead people for a short amount of time, and so you don't know if you're getting somebody at a low, but they could have been a stellar employee or sailor or soldier prior to coming to you, but just something happened right before they got to you, and they're at a low, and they just need a little grace for that time so that they can pull back out of it and get back into being that stellar employee. And the reason I share that is because I have gone through that. I've gone through a couple ups and downs in my own career where I needed grace.
The Navy gave you some grace.
The Navy gave
how did that? I mean, I really don't want to rehash old territory, but I mean, how did you get into the Navy when you didn't really have an address? You didn't have an address, did you? You just had the shelter's address.
I didn't. Correct. And it's actually a funny story, because I didn't have a high school diploma. And I love
it when you took your GED. I love that. Yes. I love that. We're going to talk about that, please.
I did not have a high school diploma. I was trying to work and I was trying to go to school, but they had a rule that if you had missed so many days, you automatically failed the classes, even though I was a straight A student. And so the recruiter ended up actually getting me a waiver to come into the military without a high school diploma, but I was supposed to get it in boot camp. However, when I got back to the shelter and told them that I joined the Navy, they made me leave. It wasn't part of what their program was designed for. And so I had to leave.
They made you.
And so when they did that night, they made me pack my stuff and leave. They're federally funded, and the program that I was part of the military was not part of that, and they had to make room for someone else who was going to actually follow through with that and complete that program. So
you need to stay in the system, or else you can't stay here.
Essentially. And in order, I guess in order for them to get the funding they needed. And so they kicked me out, and I had nowhere to go. And I ended up losing the storekeeper rating that I had gotten. So I got my waiver. I got a storekeeper rating. I was supposed to go to storekeeper A school, but I lost it because I had to leave earlier. And I ended up going in undesignated without a rating or an MOS. When I got to boot camp, my RDCs, my drill instructors, were both storekeepers. And so I was telling them the story about what had happened, and they were able to actually get me assigned an A school. When they did that, they forgot that I was supposed to do the GED program in boot camp.
Oh, they forgot that little line in the contract.
Yep. And so I was able to kind of skirt my way. And I wasn't going to tell them. I mean, who wants to stay in boot camp for another week?
You've said too much already.
I'm in trouble. They're going to come and pull me back in and make me go do the program. And then, so I went to A school. I get on the ship, and we're deployed. So now I get on the ship. We go to Hawaii. We have the Pearl Harbor premiere on the flight deck of the Stennis. We get to meet all the celebrities. The Navy's going great. And then 9/11 happens. And when 9/11 happened, we left about a month later to deploy. And so while we were deployed, they had brought some college instructors on the ship to give college courses. And I totally forgot I didn't have a high school diploma or GED. So I tried to sign up for the courses. And they were like, well, you're kind of missing this one important thing. And so I think I was an E4, E5 by then.
What happened?
Yeah. So they sent me down to the career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad that it all worked out for you, because you got your GED and when you're
on
underway.
board the ship.
Yeah.
Yes. While we were conducting combat air operations, I was down on the mess decks taking an 8-hour test to earn my GED. And when we got back, I ended up getting that. And after I got out, I ended up getting my bachelor's degree.
So here's okay. The answer to that one's B.
Yeah. How I passed it, I have no idea. That right there should show the grit that I have, I guess.
Oh, you're a smart lady.
Thank you.
And you have a boutique. I mean,
I do.
After all of this, I mean, within the last 4 years, you got this online boutique. What do you sell? Just some kitschy stuff? I mean, pillows like the one behind you, or?
No, clothing like I'm wearing now.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So before I joined the Navy, I was working at clothing stores in Melrose in Hollywood. And that was what I wanted to do. That's why I became a storekeeper, because they said that I would be able to gain the skills I needed in order to have a shop of my own.
I just think of like the movie Pretty Woman and all these snooty store people wearing, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 outfits, and just looking at people going, okay, you're worthy of my attention. So.
And then, imagine being homeless and not even getting paid minimum wage to serve those people. It was a little tough. I was like, one day that'll be me, And so I joined, after I finished the Maxim contest, I kind of started thinking, like, do I want to open a business? And
did you make any contacts? Did you make any good like industry contacts during the Maxim thing?
I think so. I think, mostly like not really fashion or photography contacts. No, mostly the media contacts, because I did a lot with the media during that time. And obviously Gina from Pin Up for Vets, and some incredible veterans. I mean, the veteran community it's my favorite. And there's just so many people doing such amazing things that are inspiring. And so I think those were my favorite connections, because they inspired me, and watching them as they grew made me want to do more. It always makes me want to do more.
And you have this common ground with other veterans, especially other successful veterans, such as yourself now. And now that I think that now that you're such a successful veteran, you're going to reach out and you're going to be reaching your hand up, or reaching your hand out to lift another veteran up who's trying to make it, or maybe mentor them and give them some pointers and stuff.
Absolutely. Always
pay it forward. Pay
Yes,
it forward.
sir.
We got that.
Jinx.
Yeah. So what are your plans now? What are you going to do now? What's next for Janae?
So we have the book out, and so right now I'm trying to kind of spread the word. change as many lives as possible. And the next step is to give speeches, to go out and do outreach with the homeless shelters, and really try to help those that are currently going through what I went through 20 years ago, to see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that if they really just make really good decisions, that they can pull themselves out of that situation. So that's the next step, is really to get further into that philanthropic mission that I have, and vision that I have, because I believe that we heal through helping others. And so that's where I want to go with my life at this point.
So I'm not a spiteful person, but have you ever considered going back to the shelter that you stayed at and spoke?
Like, look at me.
Not even a look at me, just I just want to give a motivational speech. Who are you? We don't remember you, or and then you say, I used to be here. I used to live here. I used to sleep right there.
I've gone back a couple times to take pictures, like from the outside. I've reached out a few times to them, but I haven't gotten any response. But there are similar shelters here in San Antonio. It would be nice to go everywhere and tour. Yeah, I think it would be really nostalgic to go and tour those locations and see the spots that I slept in, and see where I ate. And I did recently connect with one of the counselors, and that was really cool, seeing how he's doing and just remembering the impact that he had on my life. So I've been kind of trying to work on getting back into that realm and really help. I think it would be incredibly powerful if I could go back to those shelters and say, hey, I used to live here, and I pulled myself out, and you're going to as well.
It's such a great story. It's inspiring. I mean, I've never been homeless. I've been very damn close to homeless, and that's when I joined the Army. But to see how well you've done, I think that would be, this story in this book would be just very motivational for anybody. I can't wait to read it. I'm probably going to go, fuck, and like you said, put it down.
Yes. And I give that disclaimer in the beginning.
Oh, really?
It can bring up, it can bring up memories, and but put it down, take some time to process your own emotions, but then pick it back up, because there's a good news story at the end.
And the thing is, it might connect. It might connect. You might have some common ground with a reader,
Yes. And from every demographic that you could imagine has reached out and said, this book changed my life. And almost every person that has gotten the book has told me that they didn't want to put it down. They read it in a day or two. It was that incredible for them and that inspiring for them. And I think that there's a lot of power in sharing our story and just having those connections as humans. And I hope to continue to help change lives and inspire people to write their stories like you.
No, I'm not going to write my story. No one wants to hear that. But maybe you thought the same thing. No one wants to hear this.
Yep, I did. I still sometimes have that, kind of imposter syndrome. Like, why do people want to read my story? But the feedback is good.
Just being honest with myself. That's all, I think. So
I'd like to read your story.
We can talk. So while you were in the Navy, how long did you spend in the Navy?
I served 8 years active duty. Yes, I did 4 years on a ship and 4 years as an instructor up in Great Lakes.
So, and this is one of those, I'm going beyond the surface talk, and I want to talk about military sexual trauma. Mm-hmm. Did you at any time experience any military sexual trauma while you were in the Navy?
I did. I was in A school. And
in A school, as early as A school?
That early. And the hard part about that is, I had just come from being homeless, and it was sexual assault that resulted in me being homeless. And so I had not fully worked through that. I survived being homeless. I suppressed all of those feelings. I got in A school, and I was invited on an MWR sponsored trip.
Okay.
And during that trip, we were supposed to share rooms, just, 2 females in a room, 2 males in a room. It wasn't supposed to be packed with a bunch of people. When we got there, the chaperone, I don't know if they did a bad job in their booking or they just wanted more cash, but they put us 5 to a room, and it was mixed, male and female. And so in the middle of the night, someone left our door open, and I was assaulted while I was sleeping.
Was there a report filed, and how was that handled?
There was. It's really unfortunate the way that it was handled, because that night, as it was happening, I woke up and I kicked the person and I started screaming and asking for the chaperones to come. It was an E6 and
or the other
civilian.
4 people in the room.
Yeah. And they went and they got him. I was hysterical, screaming, begging them to call the police. And he threatened me that because everybody had been drinking underage, if we called the police, I would get kicked out of the military. And he got me to stay quiet. And when we got back, the word got around, and one of my friends actually reported it and went to court-martial. And because of the way things went down with him convincing me to stay quiet, the person was not found guilty, even though he admitted it actually in his statement.
Goodness.
Yeah. So very, very traumatic experience. And it was really sad because I gained a family with the Navy. I was so excited. Like, this was my new life. And that was quickly tainted. And I had to then watch my back for the rest of my military career. And I just
makes it really hard to trust anybody, whether it's a colleague or a supervisor or someone who you are supervising. Maybe they're, you always got something on the back of your mind.
Yeah, because this was one of my supervisors who was supposed to help me in that moment, and he had selfish intentions. When we got back, he was like, "You can't tell people that you told me because I have a family and I'll lose my career." It's unfortunate because when you go through boot camp, they teach you that we're all brothers and sisters and we all have each other's back, and so you kind of let your guard down a little. And I did. I really trusted everybody around me blindly. And when that happened, I had to put that guard back up. And I mean, it's been up ever since. When I got the opportunity to go up to Great Lakes, that's actually what was one of my motivating factors. Was I wanted to be a good mentor to some of the young people that were coming in the military and make sure that they understood that those dangers still exist, and they exist at all levels. And so I was very adamant about making sure I was mentoring people in that way if they needed it.
And every boot that came through Great Lakes has probably thanked you, because my daughter had joined the Army, and I'm telling her, I'm like, this happens. It may not happen to you. I never experienced it, like, of course, not myself, but I never experienced any of my colleagues doing this to any female or anybody, but it happens. It is out there.
Can I tell
Absolutely.
you, I have an alarming fact. I have been serving the military as active duty and a civilian for 21 years. And I can't remember coming across a female who had not been sexually assaulted in her career.
That is an alarming stat.
Now, I'm not saying everyone has, but almost
you
everyone
haven't come across anybody. Yeah.
Everyone has a story, and that's really sad. So
that it makes me so sad.
I think it's important that people know that, because when I share that, it's not because I like hate men or I want to tear men down or anything along that lines, but it's just a harsh reality that we really do have to keep our guard up. And so I do a lot of mentoring with women who have experienced it, and try to help them kind of process it and share their story. And we share our stories amongst one another so that we can really kind of carry each other through, and especially through some of that trauma, that breakdown of trust, because there's some amazing. Now, let me also add something. When I wrote the book, and even as I've shared my story, it's not just women. A lot of men have told me about their experiences, a lot. And they said that my book also helped them. Even
like men in the military, or just men in general?
Men in the military have had the experiences. And so I've had people reach out on social media. I've had people tell me in person that they've experienced. So it's not just limited to women. Men experience it as well. And there's a lot of great men and women in the military who are trying to combat this pandemic that's in the military, this epidemic that's in the military of sexual assault. But the reality is it's thriving. and it's thriving for men and women. It's not just women who experience it.
I'm not sure if it's thriving, but it's being allowed.
Yeah.
It's being allowed it's being allowed to stay alive, because we don't want to have all of this because so and so, he's 5 years away from retirement.
Yes.
Well, you know what? Maybe he shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I mean, you hear the accomplishments, you know, thrown out there whenever there's a situation. It's like, well, she's young and new, and has a whole career ahead of him, and so you kind of hear those accomplishments thrown out there, but that doesn't negate the damage that has been done to that person.
Not at all. Not at all. And it's not being a senior leader or whatever. You should have better judgment.
Yes.
This is not normal. This is not okay. I mean, even if you place that in the civilian sector, you're going to get hemmed up.
Yes.
Why not do it in the military? If you're guilty, you're guilty. I mean, take it to trial, take it to court, let a jury decide. I don't care. But what I don't like to see is the disparity between something that let's say a lower enlisted person would have done, and then juxtapose that against something that a senior, like an officer, would. I really don't speak Navy rank, but whatever the big dog is.
I'm with the Air Force now, so I speak both.
Okay. Oh wow, you speak both of the hardest languages as far as rank goes. But anybody who's way up there, it's just like, okay, we're going to allow you to retire. We're going to bust you down. Okay, we're going to take 2 stripes from you, or we're going to take a bar from you, but you're still going to retire and, you know, honorable discharge and this, that, and the other. But if something were to happen to, let's say, an E5, or
the punishment's harsher.
The punishment is much harsher, and it's much more like now.
Mm-hmm.
Within 45 days or 90 days, you're gone.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just like you've given so much to the military, so we're just going to let you. We're gonna issue a punishment, but then when we're going to allow you to retire at whatever your highest grade was. Yeah. That's very wrong to me.
And I think there's in any industry, there's predators at all levels, and sometimes the predators are protected by fellow predators, people who are similar or who have been maybe accused in their past wrongfully, or there's just variables of why somebody would protect a predator, or you know, someone who has sexually assaulted another service member. So I think there's just a lot of variables, and it's just such a complicated situation. But honestly, until we have a zero tolerance policy like we do with drugs and some of the other, I don't know, I think DUIs still, until we have a harsh punishment, I don't know how you're going to get around that.
I don't know of an instance. Maybe ICE might have a different story. I got out in '96. But I've been very connected with the military community since then. But I'm not read in on all the current. I'm not in the loop on all the current the way things that happen now. But it was always when I was in, it was always E5 or below. You get a DUI, or if you pop hot on a urinalysis, you're gone. It seems like that if you have a domestic violence charge against you, and you're a E6, E7 or above or something, it's just kind of like, you know, we're going to send you somewhere else. We're going to send you to a different post or a different ship. It's
I saw that as well when I was active. I'm not so closely involved with those type of situations now as a civilian. My workforce is all civilian. Mm-hmm. So I don't get too into the details of what happens and how the punishment. From what I know, it's more so based on the conversations that I have with people who are active now and listening to their stories.
Do you find it? Do you work with civilians, or do these civilians have prior military service?
Most in the lodging, actually, most of them are civilians. We have a lot of veterans, but there's a huge civilian community that came directly from working as civilians. As I came up through logistics, that was mostly veterans.
Do you find it hard to work with just like civilians, like with no military experience?
No, I love them. I love it. I think they're eager. There was a portion in my career where I struggled with them not having that, you know, this is a life or death, And I was maybe putting
Go,
too much
go.
pressure on them.
Make these copies. Make these copies. I need 20 of them now.
It was exactly that. It was bad. And that was one of my first supervisory jobs. And one of my mentors pulled me aside and I was like, you don't understand. People could die. And he was like, you have to realize, Janae, that these people come in, they just want to feed their families. They're not here to save lives. They didn't sign contracts. And you have to respect that. And so that put things into perspective for me and made me kind of come down from that. But I mean, there was a period where I had that military mentality of like, people could die. And we did work in a high, it was nuclear material. And if that material failed, it could sink a sub or a carrier. And so it was important, but those people didn't come in and sign a contract to have that mindset. And so
that wasn't their scope. That wasn't their lane. So it's not.
Yeah. So
you lose that paperwork, people are gonna die.
It was pretty bad. I just had not gotten out of that mentality yet. Because I came from, I went to war, and
it took a long time.
It
took a long time for me. I mean, I was very intense, and even getting out of the military and then going and working for a military contract company, or a company that caters to military contracts. It is very important to me. So I'm very regimented in my thought process, in the way that I do my work. And even today, I, even being out since 96, you got new folks coming in, and I'm just like, this is the way that it should be done. This is the right way to do it. Yes, the way that you do it does get the job done, but then I come back to, that's not the way that it should be done. It's hard. It's really hard to break that.
It is, but I've actually seen some of the civilians that don't have military backgrounds, because they've been with the government for so long. They actually have some pretty good discipline, and they really help hold me accountable as well. And so I think it's just a balance. You get a really good balance there, where everything's not so high strung and our why isn't always war. You get that balance of, okay, well, we've got to follow the processes, and we've got to make sure we're staying within the regulation. And so there's some good balance with both types. But as a leader, it's important to be able to identify that. And like I said, not to put people who aren't supposed to be under that stress, under that high stress.
You haven't convinced me yet, because from what I do, I'm like, okay, this is the standard. We need to meet this standard. What did you do? You got from here to here, but you didn't meet the standard, because all this in-between shit is not there yet. So there's the, a little bit of training, but it's not my job to train. I'm just an engineer. I don't have any personal, like a administrative authority. So if I want something to happen, I have to go like this way and that way and this way. And it's just too much effort. So I just sit around work being pissed off at someone's work ethic. So,
and that's my job as a leader, is just to help manage those relationships.
I need you to come work for my company.
I'm very much a people first kind of person, and making sure that everybody is getting the tools that they need to thrive. And so I enjoy
my boss
those
is like
types
that.
of relationships.
My boss is like that, and he's like so suspiciously nice. Everyone loves him. He's really a great guy. But he came up to me yesterday and says, KOZ, how are you? I haven't talked to you in about a week. How are you? I'm like, where's this going? It's just all of a sudden I'm suspicious. Why are you asking me these questions? He asked me, hey, what's up? Yeah. He always asks, hey, what's up all the time. But he actually said, how are you? How are you doing? And he knows I'm doing some home improvements. How's your roof doing? How's your fence doing and stuff? And I'm like, why are you asking me these very personal questions? I like you a lot, but hey, we're not bros. But
I like him. That sounds good.
He's really a great guy. He's really a great guy, and it's gonna suck when he retires, and I think he's gonna retire in a few years, and it's gonna be really big shoes. You don't realize how much you appreciate those folks until they're gone, because they've moved on or moved up or something like that. I really appreciate his attention, so I do appreciate the position that you're in.
Thank you.
As a GS-14 doing badass stuff.
It took a long time for me to learn and to really set aside, like I said, that that military mentality of everything being super high strung. And then I think going to Hawaii and it being a more relaxed environment, I was able to kind of calm my tone a little. And but I love where I'm at now. I don't know. My people might have something different to say. My team might be like, no.
It was good to come back though. It was good. You know, you get stuck on an island, and it's like, you know, you can't just leave.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, but it's going to cost you a lot of money. But it's probably good to come back to civilization and not Gilligan's Island.
The times when you want to travel, that's when it spikes. And so we were stuck there for holidays and graduations and all of those experiences, the wedding season, we had to miss all of that. So I was excited to come back where we can actually travel if we want to. And then there's a lot of stores and big roads, and we have a ranch behind us, and so there's cows, and so it's pretty cool. I like it here. I think it's a nice change of pace.
I love Texas. I've been here for a long time, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah.
Janae, thank you very much for hanging out with us for the last hour. Do you got anything? Where can we get a hold of you? I'm sure you're on all the socials, Instagram, and
yes.
I know you're on Twitter.
Yes, you can find me on Twitter, just Janae Sergio, and then across all the other platforms, it's Janae_perfectly flawed. And my book is called Perfectly Flawed, A Veteran's Journey from Homeless to Hero, and you can find that on Amazon as well. It's a best-selling book.
Well, you said it was about $25?
Yes.
Awesome. So what do you have?
And I look forward to hearing your feedback.
What do you have for the next a couple of weeks? Are you doing a book tour or trying to get some speaking engagements going on?
Still kind of working on that, writing a speech, getting a video developed, and getting out and just still sharing the news. My book has only been out for about a month, and so I'm still just trying to get the word out right now. And so I appreciate you guys helping me with that.
We're always happy to do that, and I can't wait to read the book, but I'm afraid to read the book, but I'm going to read the book. How about that?
You'll love it. I think you'll like it.
Thanks, Janae.
Once
Thank you.
Process those emotions.
Yes. And not kind of, you know, like track these people down and remove them.
Please don't. That wouldn't be good.
Okay. Thank you again, Janae, for being here. You're welcome back at any time. I would like to talk to you again, or maybe someone here at the station can talk to you maybe in a couple of months and then just see how things are going. I think this book, you know, I haven't read it yet. I'm going to. Is going to be a really good thing. It's going to make a lot of really good impacts on some impressionable people that need the guidance.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Janae. And we're going to bring Pooky back, and we're going to close out the show.
Thank you.
Normally, I'm replacing the tags from the Thursday show into Friday. Yeah, I'm a damn buttons.
I'm looking at emails right now. There's no real news of anyone coming up right now.
No.
Maybe if someone's in the secret at this point.
No, I mean we'll get them. I gotta fix my roof tomorrow. I think I can do it.
Tar.
Flex Seal.
Flex Seal. Tar.
Flex
Same thing.
All right, everybody. We're gonna
Duct tape.
Duct tape. I'm just gonna put a trash bag over my chimney. I don't burn wood anyway, so. All right, everybody. Everybody, take care. My name is KOZ. This is Pooky. Pooky's got some really great philosophical knowledge he's gonna drop on you right now. Go.
Yeah. Don't drink and drive. Don't kick your dog. Don't beat your spouse. And everything will be good. And have a wonderful weekend.
And Leroy Jenkins.
Leroy Jenkins.
All right, everybody. The shows will be back on par on Monday and Tuesday. And no, wait, there might not be something on Tuesday. Pop Culture Warriors 100th episode is going to be postponed because Pop Culture's doing CQ is going to be doing some awesome stuff. He's been invited out to a special event, so that may not be happening.
It's all the good.
Events. He's kind of a movie star. He's a pop culture guy. I would be freaked out if like, hey, can you come out here and do this premiere? I don't know what to do. But anyway, Monday edition will be back. Definitely Sergeant's Time on Thursday, and then Friday Night Freedom next Friday is going to be back. So, all right.
Best show, us.
So we're out of here, you guys. Have a great weekend. Don't drink and drive because it sucks and it's a really bad decision.
Yes, that's stupid.
All right, we're out of here. Take care, everybody.
This is WTF Nation Radio.
My friend came to the door. She said, well, I was on the phone cooking me and my baby some breakfast. And she said, hey, something wrong. It's popping. I said, what? She said, yeah. I said, no. So the girl come downstairs. She come out her apartment with her baby with no shoes on. I said, oh, girl, it's cold outside. She said, something ain't right. I said, oh, man. She said, oh, man, the building is on fire. I said, no, what? I got my 3 kids and we bounced out. We ain't gonna be in no fire, not today.
The voice of U.S.